What are the most precious things in your home? Money? Well, you probably have most of it in some sort of bank account. Maybe jewellery, watches, or other valuable material items. Hopefully you have those covered by home insurance, right? And besides that, nearly every material good is, at least in theory, replaceable. What is not is sentimental value, grandmother's ring or your first trophy you won at a sports event. But mostly it is old photographs, memories of your childhood, memories of people who are no longer with us. My dad died in 2008 when I was just 11, so old photo albums like this here from our first trips to Tunisia, our first family vacations in 1998 and 2001 are even more valuable to me. Because while I do have a few memories, they only really come alive again when I look at the photographs. It's kind of like a mini Ben Z from Harry Potter, and no less magical in my opinion. But sadly, more often than not, we do a really bad job protecting these invaluable memories. Photo albums get lost when moving to another apartment or house, or when disasters like fire or flooding occur, and digital images get accidentally deleted or disappear when you switch to a new phone, or your old PC breaks or whatever. Or we rely on outdated technology like VHS cassettes or CDs that will not be able to digitize forever and besides are prone to break. I guess we're just not always aware of how fragile our ways of protecting our dearest memories oftentimes really are. So what would I do as a better solution? First of all, get all your photo albums and cassettes together and begin digitalizing them. While you may need special devices or rely on paid services to digitalize old videos from VHS cassettes, digitalizing physical photographs really is easy and straightforward. Let me show it to you. While I am a professional photographer and probably would have the gear as well as the know-how to do it in a fancier way, I'm also quite lazy. And the benefit here is that literally anybody can do that. Because I just use my phone with the PhotoScan app from Google, which is available for free for Android as well as iOS. No affiliation here whatsoever, but the link is in the description below. And what that does is it advises you to take 4 images on each corner, and it then creates one final image without any glare or reflections. And the result, while not perfect, is absolutely decent. But hey, I think done is better than perfect should definitely be the motto here. Because the simpler the process, the higher the likelihood that you actually do it, right? If you want, you can also use photo editing software to further enhance the images. I used Topaz Gigapixel in this case, which definitely helped with sharpness and resolution. But again, that's sort of the cherry on top and not really necessary. What is important though is that you kind of limit yourself to the best or most important photos to avoid getting overwhelmed during the process. As a rule of thumb, I'd only go for images that are clearly different than the others and avoid random, landscape or cityscape shots like these ones here. As they are not as valuable or irreplaceable as the ones involving people, right? But obviously you know best what is important to you. Well, what's the next step? Once you have the digital image files, I would save them to 2 separate SSDs. It is important that you use SSDs and not mechanical drives, as they are much more reliable and future-proof. These days they're not really expensive either. I'm a fan of these small ones from SanDisk, and you can pick one up with a terabyte of storage for under €100 or $100, and 1 terabyte of storage should be enough for like 250,000 images, and that's obviously a lot. So I'd recommend getting 2 separate SSDs as identical twins. That way, if one drive fails, everything is still secure on the second one. And ideally, if possible, you would also store them at different locations, so you hedge against, for example, a fire at your apartment or whatever. And then as an additional layer of security as well as convenience, I would also use some form of cloud storage like Google Cloud or Apple's iCloud or whatever service you like. That way you always have all of your photographs, all of your memories with you wherever you are. And of course you can set everything up in a way that every new image you take on your phone gets automatically uploaded to the cloud. So every new picture is immediately backed up. And while there's some risk involved, I would not really bother with directly saving every new photo to your SSDs. It's just too much hassle on a day-to-day basis, in my opinion. So I would make it a habit to, like, for example, every new year or last week of December, go through your devices and save everything to your 2 SSDs. With all this, it is obviously important that you create some sort of system, how you categorize, how you organize the images, like maybe a separate folder for every trip or major event like birthdays and whatnot, and then maybe a miscellaneous folder for everything else in between. But of course, that is totally up to you. So in conclusion, my recommendation looks like this. First, digitalize everything old that is important to you, but of course keep the physical photographs too. Number 2, put it on 2 separate SSDs, preferably stored at different locations. Number 3, upload everything to a cloud service, as well as make sure that every new photo or video you create automatically gets uploaded to the cloud. And number 4, every year make it a habit to put the most important memories of the year on the 2 SSDs and get rid of all the fluff. And number 5, replace your drives after 5 to 10 years with something more modern or more relevant. The last point here is especially important. Of course, should one of your drives fail, replace it with a new one, and maybe after a few years it's also a good idea to replace them out of caution. But also keep in mind that every technology will become obsolete eventually. For example, 14 years ago I backed up lots of holiday images to CDs and DVDs, and now they are somewhat obsolete as more and more people don't have DVD players anymore. So regarding our SSDs here, maybe in 10 or 15 years there will be no devices with USB ports anymore, and of course that would be the moment when you switch from USB devices to something else. But it is always smart to use multiple storage technologies. Like in our example, we have the physical image stored in the book, which is the oldest technology. Then we have the solid state drives, and which is more modern, and cloud storage as the latest. Finally, I know that while it is a fairly straightforward strategy, it might still be a lot of work to go through all the old photographs and digitizing them, categorizing and saving to different drives and all that. And you might just not be motivated enough for that, or maybe it seems not important enough to protect the images at the moment, or perhaps you recently lost a loved one and it is simply too painful to go through every memory and you just maybe want to leave everything behind right now, right? All of that is totally understandable. But do yourself and your loved ones a favor and try to think long term, because someday maybe you'll be really, really thankful that you have all those priceless memories stored somewhere ready to revisit. As an example, back in, 2006, my dad had one of those best Nokia phones at the time, with which you could record small video clips, and I used to beg him all the time, "Dad, can I make a video?" And I made literally hundreds of clips of anything really. My dad and me fooling around, having fun, and when he died, I don't know how exactly, but the phone got lost and with it all those memories. And while at the time of his death I did not really think about that, and not even years later. Today I would pay a lot of money to get to those files and relive these long forgotten moments. Well, that's it for today. I hope I inspired you to at least think about how you store and protect your photographs and videos. If you liked this video, I'd be super thankful if you could leave a like and maybe consider subscribing for more content like this. Thank you very much and have a nice day.